Let's play!
Hey guys, welcome back to Street Fighter Cross Mega Man. I actually pronounced the title right this time. In today's part, we'll start things off by taking on Rose.
Yes, the Italian fortune teller herself.
Yes, if I'm correct, in Street Fighter canon, she's actually the good half of series main villain M. Bison.
Well, she's the good half, not physically, but of like a personification of his psycho powers.
Yeah, it's like... I remember they explained it kind of in the Chun-Li movie. Where it was like...
The live-action one?
Yeah, the live-action one, where I think it was like... They said that he sacrificed his child or gave him his good half or something. It's a stupid movie.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I wouldn't trust anything from that movie to be canon.
I don't think you would trust anything from any of the movies, aside from maybe the anime.
I'm pretty sure all the anime adaptations of Street Fighter 4 are counted as canon.
Yeah, they're also the most popular because Chun-Li shower, yes.
Oh, yes.
So anyway, yeah, Rush Jet.
Yeah, this was unexpected. I don't think anybody was expecting a shooter segment.
Yeah, it's not the hardest shooter section. You should be able to do it. One, Charge Buster can take out the barriers. The plate things die pretty easily. Although, one thing I noticed that's kind of interesting, you have a Magician enemy, you have the Fool barrier, and you also have a Coin enemies. All of these are members of the Tarot cards, which of course, Rose's Fortune Teller.
Exactly.
So yeah, kind of an interesting tie to Rose's backstory. I don't know how the fire wheels work, though.
Chariot? Because they're kind of like wheels?
Kind of. I think they're just other Mega Man enemies that they wanted to put in.
Yeah, yeah.
Also, the sword is a suit in the Tarot deck.
There we go.
Yeah. Let's see now. So, actually, this is the only level that has the Rush Jet section. How do you feel about that? Like, you can't actually use Rush Jet whenever you want, like in other games.
It's a little jarring, especially coming after, like, Mega Man 9 and 10, where you start with both Rush Jet and Rush Coil. That you don't have any Rush powers.
Really? You start with Rush Jet?
Yeah, you start with both Rush Jet and Rush Coil. And, I wouldn't say it breaks the game, because, you know, I don't know. It wouldn't. I don't think it breaks the game that you can, you know, skip over sections by smartly using them.
Yeah.
It just, yeah, I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah. Actually, speaking. Go on.
I was just gonna say it's an interesting ladder decoration. You know, normally it's just regular like ladders. That looks cool.
It does. Now, speaking of Rush Coil, weren't you going to say something about our newest weapon, the Tropical Hazard?
Yes, otherwise known as the watermelon. That's all it is. It's a watermelon. Now, you can actually use it to double jump and boost off of it. This is exactly like the Mega Ball from Mega Man 8. In fact, most of the kicks and uses of it are ripped right from Mega Man 8.
And to actually kick it in this game, I believe it's up and B will have it kick up into the air, and down and shoot will have it rolled on the ground. You can also slide into it to make it jump into the air, and of course you can just kind of have it sit there, and if enemies touch it, they'll take damage.
I still think it's just hilarious that Rose's weakness is just a watermelon.
When I saw this weapon in action, I had to ask myself, okay, who is going to be weak to this?
I was wondering who used it, because I didn't know who would, but
I think I figured Blanca would probably use it, because it doesn't look like we're going to get any electric-based powers in this game.
No, and as much as I would have loved, like, you know, being able to do his Rolly attack, any Mega Man attack that requires physical touching to do damage generally isn't very good.
Also, a quick tip for beating Rose, her watermelons can deflect her energy balls. That's very useful when she's using her Ultra attack, the Soul Satellite.
Yes, you might recognize Soul Satellite from another Capcom fighter by the name of Strider Hiryu from the Marvel vs. Capcom series. He actually stole her attack, and it's more famous for him than it is Rose.
Yes. If I'm correct, the actual attack name is Ouroboros.
Yes, which is ironic, because then he got to fight with Wesker.
Yeah. So it's kind of a mix-mash of Capcom crossovers.
Oh, everything's connected in the Capcom crossovers. So who are we going after now?
Next, we are going after Rolento.
Oh yes, when I saw him in the game, I was so super happy. He is, in my opinion, one of the coolest Street Fighter characters. Just something about him. I don't know what it is.
Actually, you want to know something interesting? Technically, Rolento is not a Street Fighter character.
Very true. Yeah, I was gonna bring that up after, but yeah.
Yes, Rolento actually made his first appearance in the Final Fight series. While Final Fight was originally intended to be a Street Fighter game, I guess you could kind of say that still makes him a Street Fighter character, but he did make his official debut as a Street Fighter character in Street Fighter Alpha 2.
Well, the Final Fight series is canon to Street Fighter, much like a couple other Capcom franchises. In the games themselves, the Captain Commando is canon to Street Fighter because of in the game you can find statues of an old mayor, which is Mike Hagar, a Final Fight character, which connects, you know, Captain Commando to Street Fighter. Also, Sea Viper's weapons are a homage to Captain Commando. In fact, if you read some of the supplementary materials, you'll learn that they're prototypes for a hero. And one of her costumes has a similar-ish logo on it.
So are you saying that technically Street Fighter 4 takes place before the Marvel vs. Capcom series? Or should we just not bring the timeline into this at all?
I wouldn't bring the timeline into the crossovers, but I will bring the timeline into, you know, the other games. Because, yeah, it does, you know, take place after and before, and...
Yeah, there is actually a timeline. Like, if I'm correct, the timeline for the Street Fighter series is that it starts with the Alpha series, then it moves on to Street Fighter... Yeah, then it moves on to Street Fighter 2, then Street Fighter 4, and then Street Fighter 3. Yeah, Capcom has a weird thing with chronology.
Oh, yes. You know, the third is usually the last.
Well, not in Devil May Cry's case.
That's true.
Yeah, I was going to actually bring that up when we got to the Devil May Cry. Well, not we, but when I get to my Devil May Cry 3 playthrough.
Okay.
I'm trying to think of any other game that has a weird chronology in the Capcom series.
Well, actually, going back to the topic of canon things in Street Fighter,
yeah.
Do you know the game Asura's Wrath, right?
Yes, I do know the game Asura's Wrath.
It is canon to Street Fighter.
Really?
Other than the DLC boss fights with Ryu and Akuma, you can also see Sagat in a cutscene. Yes,
really?
And I mean, it's kind of random, but I mean, Asura's Wrath is crazy over the top, you know.
Oh yeah, I mean it's obvious anime.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy, but yeah, it is canon to the universe, and in the comics by Udon, which are generally not canon, they're the nearest thing to. You have Dr. Wily making an appearance, as well as Mike Hagar talking to Prosecutor Edgeworth.
Really?
Yes, I actually have that comic.
So does this mean that the Phoenix Wright series is also in canon to the Street Fighter series?
Yeah, in the Udon continuity.
And
They're the ones who do the cutscenes for Street Fighter 4. Yep.
Really?
Oh, and I guess, you know, we totally bypassed the whole Rolento fight.
Yeah, it's kind of easy when you're using the Soul Satellite, since you can just run into him and he'll do damage to you, but you really shouldn't die.
Alright, before we go, I have one final fact for Rolento. You know how he does the pogo stick attack? That's a reference to Capcom's DuckTales, and in fact uses the same sound effect.
Yes, I have actually heard that sound effect. I want to thank you for watching, and next time, more bosses.
Oh yeah.